But there's a Christopher Priest run where there's an almost omnipotence to Deadpool because he's trying to convince the reader to do things.
Oh, interesting.
So as you're experiencing Deadpool, he's manipulating you.
And what is
and
he
I feel
trying
like
to
that is
that's God.
Welcome back to the Break Room. Today we're playing a favorite Break Room game that we've totally done before, and you remember it and you love it. That's right. Today we're playing Guy or God. Look at that. We even have a graphic. This is
because it's a tried and true game.
Tried and true, yeah, classic.
I'm Brandon Barrick. Joining me today, we got Coy Jandreau.
It's been so long. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to have him back. Also happy to have him back. He's here all the time. It's Evan Yee.
Put me back behind the desk. Not this desk, the other one.
Does he know there's a desk he's behind?
While he was eating lunch, we changed his desks, and he didn't even notice.
It's a pretty good prank.
I don't know if you folks have heard this, but Dune, it's in the zeitgeist. And you know, we got the boys coming back very soon.
Yeah, June.
You know, today's Super Tuesday. They're putting out a lot of fun media around that.
Yeah.
You know, things are going well in the land of the boys. Things are going well in this land. I don't know. Everyone's a mess.
Both aren't on fire.
Yeah.
Everything's great, folks. You know, we were talking about Dune 2. We're talking about the boys. All these like big characters, plenty of them in the MCU, of course. And we were wondering if some of our favorite heroes or villains are they just guys or are they gods? Just guys, just gods. What are they? We're gonna have a live little debate about that. We're gonna go to our live Twitch chat. So at Breakroom NR with your thoughts. If you got some thoughts about what we're discussing today, let them know. Evan's monitoring the chat. So let's discuss. Let's get into it. And before we go through our character lineup here, we should probably discuss what makes a god. A capital G god.
This was interesting. There's like a few, you know, kind of like short definitions here that we have. We have like a supreme being.
Okay.
So we have a creator, a spirit or being believed to have created or for controlling some part of the universe or life for which such a deity is often worshipped. Thanks Wikipedia for that.
Oh, I thought you wrote that.
Just off the top of my head. And then Merriam-Webster also has a few different definitions here. God, the supreme or ultimate reality. Then gives a few examples. Okay. A being or object that is worshipped as having more than natural attributes and powers. It's interesting.
That's pretty open.
Okay.
A person or thing of supreme value, a powerful ruler. So those are four wide-ranging definitions.
That's a lot of wide-ranging definitions.
I'm curious.
They're narrow. They open more, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely open
like
it's
more. I mean, now our question is which of those parameters are we structuring because some of those are just superheroes.
Yeah, that's true.
And what's a king to a god? What's a god to a king? What's a king to a non-believer?
Yeah.
Doesn't believe in anything. As Kanye once said.
Oh, okay.
What is the parameter?
I don't know the answer. Well, there's a lot to consider there. Wide-ranging, obviously. You know, in our modern society, I would say there's a more monotheistic cultures, right?
Right.
That view God as a one singular being or an amalgamation of three separate parts into one being, right? The idea of a singular thing. That's often tied into a creator story. I feel like we've really consolidated our religion and our concept of God.
Which is interesting with the
instead
Dune.
of the old school, like, hey, there's gods for everything.
Right.
And they're not all creators. Some of them just watch fire.
That's what's interesting to me about the idea of theology is it used to be how we explained away things.
Right.
Like thunder, there's a god. Like
he's bowling. God is bowling.
There's always we don't understand something, so we invent a deity to have us feel comfortable.
Invent?
They're real. They're real things. But I think it's interesting now that we live in a theology that is so like monotheistic. I don't know how I don't have kids, but I don't know how I'd explain to a kid why some people have a thing they believe or invented to structure what it is to make them comfortable. Because faith is just to be comfortable in the unknown.
Sure.
So it's just like when I have kids, I'll be like, some people are scared of the dark.
Yeah.
God.
We'll separate faith from gods here.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. We won't put it on you know, Thor's shoulders if I go to hell or not.
Because worship, like one of the things was worship. Without worship, are they a god?
Because there is the idea of like, you know, if enough people believe in something, is it not?
Does
real?
it become?
Does it become? Yeah.
And you have the concept of tulpas, of course, like
right?
Willing something into existence. I always make the example of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is real.
He's more real than a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like whether you believe in him or not, there are children who on Christmas Day wake up to gifts
that exist.
Were not there before, that their parents did not get for them. It happens.
Yeah.
Have you read? There's a comic called The Department of Truth.
Yes, I am reading my
genius.
book.
Like, what a fun way to spin the X-Files thing in a new direction.
I gave a heavy sigh because that comic book is sneakily a real book. There's pages where it's just like diary, like journal entries. And I'm like,
why am I reading?
Yeah.
We gotta talk before air about your lack of book love. That is so funny that I bring that up and you just sigh.
Don't tell me.
But man, I'll be reading that before bed and I'll turn a page and it's like,
reading?
I'm like, do I have to read all this?
Where are the pictures, comic book?
I'm catching up on a lot of the X-Men stuff right now, and they do that too all the
yeah.
time. Where every page is like a memo, and I'm like, oh, come on.
There's
book now.
There's books and comic books.
You've tricked me.
But I think some of these characters fall on a tricky line, especially because like Homelander, I think, is our first example. He has followers.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was an interesting thing for me with Homelander specifically. Let's get the picture of Homelander just in case we forgot about him. Yeah, I mean, he has followers, but in like the people just like seeing him as like something else now, right? And also like because I think a lot of people probably in their world grew up thinking before the Compound V, it's like, oh, this is someone who represents like, I mean, he is their real life version of Superman.
Yeah.
Because they don't know that he's
in the timeline of the show that we have watched. In present time, we've seen the concept of heroes in that show has been demystified. That now they know they're all man-made,
right?
And that's something that like in that show, it's so closely tied to religion.
Yeah,
like it was like Christian camps where a lot of these heroes came up through.
Yeah.
Starlight came up through that
that's
system,
right. I forgot.
And like it's something they haven't really dived into on the show.
I'm hoping this next season does, especially with
the idea that
college
like,
stuff in Gen V.
There was a great line in Gen V that was where the dean was like, "Hey, I've kept a bunch of kids from killing themselves who just found out that their parents signed a deal and they were not created by God. Something they believed up until a year ago." So it's like there's a lot. This is like the snap in the MCU where it's like there are some huge ramifications we are not discussing.
Yeah. I think we'll have to this next season.
So like for Homelander, right? He's not a creator. He can't create. Well, he's created life, but I don't want to get into that. I do not want to get into that conversation. But he cannot create
singularly
a lot of singularly.
He cannot. I think singular is important to the God concept.
And all his power is given to him by man. Which does that make a god or what?
I mean, fair.
But it's like, would you say that someone who has been augmented
to that
technology is a god, even though they were created by man?
Yeah.
But he is also a Pandora that they cannot put back in the box, right?
Yeah, because he's more powerful than
true.
They haven't been able to stop him yet.
He's not on our list, but I would say Dr. Manhattan I'd consider a god. But but made by man in a way.
Yeah.
But I would consider him more of a god than Homelander.
Made by a man on accident.
Right. But with deity powers.
Yeah.
But once a man.
Man dealing with a power they did not understand.
Yeah, but he can create.
But now he can control.
So I would say Dr. Manhattan's a god.
Yeah.
He's my clean example of a god in fiction. Yeah. But I would say Homelander is not.
Yeah, Homelander's like more. Yeah.
Yeah, because also like he does want to rule in a sense, right?
Sure.
But also like I think he has faced several. He has been presented with several moments where he could take charge fully, right? And and something always stops him from deciding to like fully either out himself as his true nature or something because he is maybe afraid, right? He's like really wants these like the ratings, is so concerned about the points and all that stuff. So it's very interesting that like maybe he's
got followers.
He's a guy.
He wants to be a ruler. He's more of a demigod, maybe.
Oh,
half man, half god.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's ultra. He's more than like peak human. He's more than
I would say demigod. I like that.
I see him as like a demigod,
but not a full god.
Right.
I'm gonna stand by that.
Yeah, I accidentally made the poll in our live chat too long, and 100% of people are just saying guy.
Oh,
so
all right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I only gave him guy and gods.
No. That's we're on the same page.
We've played this game a lot. They should know the rules by now.
Yeah, that's true. This is the 200th episode.
Tried and true classic of guy or god.
Guy or god.
Speaking of a classic, Superman. The opposite end of the spectrum here. Not Homelander.
Not definitely Homelander. Thank goodness. Could be if he wanted to, but he chose not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depending on who's writing him.
Does that's true. Does him being an alien affect any of this?
Well, I mean, we'll get into it later, but like Thor's just an alien. You know, Loki's just an alien.
They're from another realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're kind of
that
just
makes them
aliens.
alien in their own way.
They fly straight. You know, there's a straight line you could fly from Earth to Asgard.
Yeah.
In previous now they're bumming out on
the Bifrost is broken. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I would say Superman is closer to being a god than Homelander because his powers weren't imbued later. They were a side effect of his unique physiology, which implies like his strength is from within. But he can't create independently.
He can't create. Yeah. I mean, like, he's had so many powers. Like,
I don't think
if you could turn,
he can mirror himself. I'm sure.
You can turn the Earth backwards to affect time, but
ooh, that's fair.
When he does that, is that only time on Earth? Does he create a gravitational well that only affects Earth and not like the rest?
Well,
of the universe?
it's the planet he spun. Like it's just Earth that he spun around. So I don't think that would affect.
He creates like a weird little like gravity well. This is a whole other.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got so many powers, and like, isn't it in the comics too? He just lives to the end of time.
I mean,
there's like a version of him that lives.
Yeah, because there's nothing that would hinder that, depending on who's writing him. Because like Kingdom Come, he's older, but we don't know that he dies naturally.
And like, is there a natural decay for Kryptonians? Like, do they die on their own planet?
He clearly ages. Which would imply decay.
But he's so close to the yellow sun; it's just giving him so much power.
And Kingdom Come, there's like an older Ness, but like we don't know if he's gonna. Okay. We don't know the arc, right? Like human beings, once they hit a certain age, is real downhill. He could stay that way for hundreds of years. We don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's definitely more of a god than Homelander is.
Yeah, but he's still mortal to a point because he does have decay.
I'm also like interested like in the like Superman doesn't necessarily have like followers in the same sense, right?
He has like
sure
Myros.
He does.
Yeah, I'm sure there's cultists. They don't really lean into that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I lived in
James Gunn opens on the Superman cult.
If
I'm going to distinguish this from other Supermans.
If I lived in Metropolis, I'd be like,
this guy.
Pretty sure this guy is God.
Yeah, like that's also a thing.
Crazy
like,
stuff.
In universe, wouldn't they feel like a god?
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like a god. He can create in that, like, he can, throw a bunch of seeds and blow wind on them, and then.
But the seeds had to be there.
Spin so fast.
But you still had to have the seeds.
Yeah.
So he didn't create the seeds. My big thing is creation, apparently. Like that's what I'm stuck on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go guy.
He's kind of like a god.
I'm gonna go for me, guy.
Yeah, guy. Okay.
For me, he's kind of like a god. He's like off-world. He's not human. He's more than that. I don't know. It's perception.
Yeah.
Are you going God?
I'm going God.
Okay, one guy, one God.
Superman. He's the most altruistic person we're going to talk about, probably.
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Guy. I think I lean more towards. Like the lack of the creation powers.
That's a huge thing for me.
Someone in the chat was saying that at one point he shot little Supermen out of his hands.
Yeah, he can multiply.
Oh yeah.
He can multiply.
I don't know if that's creation.
About that one.
I don't know if I love it.
Yeah.
Also, where do they go after? Does he eat them?
They all have like
do they die off? Yeah, like what am I? I was just created by this larger me. Is that not how we all feel in our teen life?
Oh, they're still there. You just
even in canon right now, there's little Supermans running around.
They got a whole little society.
It was close in the polls, but 46% said God. 42% said demi. I gave him a demigod option.
Oh.
I'll take it out this time. I wasn't sure where we were going.
You didn't know if we had.
I forgot about the rules.
The third category to this very important game we play all the time.
I know. I forgot about it. I'm new to the show. All right. Dr. Doom. This is one you suggested yesterday, Coy. He's master of magic and science.
I would argue if Superman is considered because of the alien element, this would be more of a god to me than Homelander because he is self-made.
Yeah.
He's done this through his own mind. He has mastered things. So to me, the self-creation of the ability through magic and science make him more of a god to me than Homelander because he has mastered time. He's mastered space. He could probably, if he wanted to, I mean, like the Doombots aren't fully sentient, but they're closer. Like they're scarily sentient, and that's creation.
Yeah.
It's in one's own image, which that capital G God
he
does.
Goes to like, doesn't have to go to like hell to fight to get his mother's soul back.
His mom's in hell, and he visits, and he can sustain.
Pretty god-esque material.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Doom as a god.
Yeah.
What happens after he gets like the Beyonder's powers to make Battle World? Like what happens?
He could hang. That's the thing. Is he
Yeah.
got the Beyonder's powers? Was like, I'll handle it. Like a lot of characters, like Spider-Man got the power cosmic, was overwhelming. He did navigate it, so he was temporarily a god. But he didn't keep those cosmic powers. Therefore, I wouldn't consider Spider-Man obviously a god to me.
Right.
Whereas Doom was able to wield the power of
Yeah.
the Beyonder and maintain all of his science and magic.
Yeah, let him be a god.
He's a god.
He's got followers
Also,
for sure.
God
He runs
Emperor.
a country.
Have you read Secret Wars, the newest?
Yeah.
So God Emperor Doom.
Yeah.
It leveled him
Emperor's
up.
a god. Yeah, he's
But-
like in the white space.
Yeah, he's like a deity.
Yeah.
But it also like didn't feel out of character.
No, it
'Cause he's a
tracks.
god.
It tracks. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's my most confident
Yeah.
capital G.
If I lived in Latvia, he'd be my guy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure. I'd be like, this guy's great. I'm going to elect him for another
He's
4
wonderful.
years. This Super Tuesday, I'm voting for Dr. Doom.
This is a funny day to be doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really. It's.
I mean, if
something
you
else.
live in Latveria, you're
having these conversations.
Yeah. You're agreeing with most of what he's doing.
What God Doom wants,
It's
God
going
Doom
well
gets.
for you.
Oh
in
yeah,
Latveria.
Yeah.
you're very
You might
happy.
not agree with his policies, but like,
Boy, do you vote for him.
it's going well. It's going well.
Whatever God Doom
What's
wants.
the price of a carton of milk in Latveria?
I don't know.
This is their economic system.
We're seeing a bit more guys than gods in the
Ah.
chat. Interesting.
I have respect for Dr. Doom.
I mean, if Doom was in front of you, you'd be saying something else.
He's mastered so
Yeah,
much.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you level up to God status? Or do you have to be like born into God status?
Well, I think that's interesting, right? When you
get
are.
That's the
yourself
Dr.
there?
Manhattan
I mean, Dr.
conversation.
Manhattan. But you could argue, well, I guess it's
I
like
think Dr. Manhattan would smoke Doom, but
the
that'd be
moment
Yeah.
that, I forget his regular name, becomes Dr. Manhattan
Victor-
John
oh, yeah,
or
what is
whatever. I forget what
I knew until
his
you
regular
asked.
name was.
Yeah.
He transfigures there. He becomes Dr. Manhattan, right?
Right.
He's no
Yeah.
longer that dude. R.I.P.
He ascends.
Yeah.
He ascends.
And I guess that,
guy.
that moment exists for Victor Von Doom. I mean, he was born Victor Von Doom. Tough name. Tough name to
Overcame it though.
Overcame
by
it.
a lot. Now he's
so he kind of lived.
yeah,
He lived the
did.
gimmick, if you will. But he has a moment of transformation that transforms him into Victor Von Doom or into Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And then from then on, his pursuit kind of evolves him into a god.
I just realized
What?
Duncan, Idaho is a name in Dune. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, they think it's funny because like everybody else is like Atreides and Duncan.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington's name is Duncan, Idaho. Effectively.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, but we
it's
don't-
a first name.
we don't
of
live-
the state.
say last
Yeah,
And
but
we
we
never
don't-
questioned Denzel Washington.
Yeah, but so is Hannah Montana. But we don't live.
But
we don't
Duncan,
live in
Idaho.
Arrakis. Okay.
That's true. But I just never put together how much Denzel Washington
That would be
and Duncan,
like
Idaho.
that would be like if Denzel's Washington name was
Zendaya? Zendaya's an Atreides name.
Clownronian.
Zendaya's like an Arrakis name.
Yeah, and at first I'm sure people were like, Zendaya, that's a weird name, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And they're like, all names are weird. Get
That's true.
over it.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Much love to Denzel Washington. Just had that moment.
You're our Duncan Idaho.
He's earned it.
Duncan Idaho's a god, right?
No.
Come on.
Well, if later on in the book.
Yeah, depending on when we're talking.
Yeah,
I cannot
yeah.
wait for people to discover what goes down to Messiah.
I've only heard a little bit about it.
I,
Seems wild.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna read all 6 books before a third movie. I think I'm gonna do the whole journey.
No, too much reading.
Oh, books with words.
Bucks.
That's how you become a god.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Are people with us or against us so far?
Let's
for the most
see.
part?
Let's see. People leveled out on Guy, but it's close. 51 to
Dang.
49.
It leveled out.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's Dr. Doom got to do to get the
I
respect?
know, like literally God, Emperor Doom. It's in the name.
After Secret Wars, they'll
be like, oh, he's a god.
They'll all be changing their tunes.
I wonder if people consider Thanos a god.
Oh yeah, he should have been on here.
He definitely wielded some power.
Spoiler, he's not on here. Maybe we'll talk about. We could.
I think
talk about
it,
I would
wearing the
consider-
whoever wears the Infinity
Is a god.
Gauntlet,
Yeah, it's just.
I would say
Yeah.
Thanos, especially with the gauntlets, a god, and being able to hold it.
That's literally like getting
Yeah.
God mode when you
I mean,
unlock it in a
right,
video
you're
game.
like, oh.
you're like, I can do whatever I
I
want.
think Thanos, you have to be a god to wield the gauntlet, but are you a god until you wield the gauntlet? Is it only
So was-
once you've welded it?
So was Tony Stark a god in the
It killed
moments
him.
that he had?
In the moments.
Yeah.
Though he could barely
Hulk.
wear the gauntlet. Yeah, Hulk definitely.
Yeah.
But I think Thanos, yeah, that's interesting.
That's just like the comic. I mean, in the comics, right? Is there a character in the comics who has not at one point had the Phoenix Force or been like a Venom symbiote
Yeah.
Or the
at some
cosmic,
point,
the power
or
cosmic.
had like spider powers at some point? Like
60 years.
Those
You gotta write
really
60.
get around. They really get around those 3 things.
60
Jacob
years, gotta write
Beach.
things.
Yeah.
Jacob Beach in the chat says in the 2022 Fantastic Four run by Ryan North, soon refined a town where everyone is Doombot and live fully human life cycles.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
to him,
yeah.
they would definitely
He's
be
a god.
God.
Yeah.
And the Ryan North Fantastic
He's a
Four run
god.
is my favorite ever run. It's currently like the right now's book of Fantastic Four is my favorite in 60 years.
Oh yeah, I gotta check it out.
It's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
It's only issue like 18.
If I'm a Doombot, please tell me, because I want to do some Doombot things and not just be living this human life.
What's a Doombot thing?
I don't know. Run
Fly.
through a fire, fly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of crash test dummies
Yeah, I
activities.
would be just like pushing this body to its limit.
Shooting laser beams.
Well,
Minimum.
if you were a Doombot, Brandon, you wouldn't be able to use today's sponsor.
Oh, is
Call
that
Sheet.
right?
Yeah.
But I want to use Call Sheet.
Well, you can, but you just gotta take the Doombot test.
Oh, okay.
Call Sheet is the first legal financial exchange in the U.S. where you can bet on any event, including who's going to win what Oscars. So for instance, if Emma Stone winning Best Actress was trading at 50 cents, and you bought a share for 50 cents, and she wins, you'd earn $1. If the share price went up to 80 cents or something before the Oscars and you sold, you'd get 80 cents.
Ooh, yeah.
I put in $10 for Boy and the Heron today.
To win Best Animated.
To win Best Animated Feature.
What was it selling at? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
He doesn't remember, folks.
But I would double my
Spider-Verse.
money if it
Spider-Verse
wins.
all
Okay.
day.
Listen.
If we're betting, I'm going Spider-Verse, and that's how it's going to work.
Well, you can go on Call Sheet and buy shares of Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I will.
It's kind of like fantasy football, only for the entertainment industry. Super fun. You can make some money doing it. It's the only place you can bet on the Oscars in all 50 states. It's got a ton of different markets, including Rotten Tomato scores, plus markets on politics, music, climate, economics, tech, games, and more. You
They
can
have
sign up.
crazy categories.
Yeah, you should
They have
check it
so
out.
many weird things you can bet on.
That's cool.
You can buy shares on like what the temperature is going to be in New York this weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Purchase shares, you
Yeah.
know, you can check it out yourself. You can sign up by going to callsheet.com/breakroom. The first 500 traders will get a free $20 credit. All right. Get into some more sponsors later. But let's talk about Thor and Loki, which is very interesting. When I texted Coy about this, I was like, yeah, we're going to do some characters. I don't know, like Spider-Man or something. And I was like, you got any ideas? And I was like, yeah, what about
Spider-Man's a
Thor?
guy.
I don't know, he keeps going back to life.
Run into Peter Parker at all times.
Shortest
He keeps
thing.
going back to life.
No, but
dies.
that's not. That's just plot armor.
Yeah, that's not got it. That was so
they get
funny. I
into
was
in
like, do you have any ideas? I'm like, Thor, God of Thunder?
Yeah,
Loki,
truly,
God
It's
of
in
Stories?
his name. It's in his name.
Also the most recent Disney show.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's interesting to talk about the two of them hand in hand in this sense because they're clearly, you know, very powerful and are gods in a sense, but also inspired gods for humans, right? So like, where do we feel like this line is on like what, like where they land on this?
Right. Well, I mean, there is like the All-Father energy, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is only accessed by the people in Odin's and Bor's like lineage.
Yeah.
It's part of like a prophecy, right? It recycles itself.
It's eternal.
It is eternal, and like I don't know where the All-Father energy comes from. Is that like faith-based? Is that because people believe in them, it powers the All-Father energy, and that gives them power?
Yeah.
Like
mean-
if people stopped believing in them, but I mean, like how many people are practicing?
Thor worship.
Yeah,
How many people
yeah.
are worshiping
Deep.
the Odin sleep?
right.
And also the Odin sleep, like that makes you immortal because
Yeah.
you can come out of it, but like, is that weakness prohibitive of godhood?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you look at like Marvel comics, DC too, right? There's tiers for everything, all the way from capital G guys all the way to lowercase G guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like Thor and Loki are definitely like capital G guys,
Especially now. Like, we've seen in a sense.
in the comics certainly, right?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the comics certainly.
Thor has become Odin, Loki's been Odin, Thor's been Loki, Loki's been Thor, everyone's been everybody, you know.
Yeah.
They've all done godlike things. In the MCU, I mean, Loki certainly is at this point.
Yeah, I think, and he's
Loki
chosen
comes
to,
to-
Yeah,
right?
he's lived for centuries.
Yeah.
Beyond the time he already lived.
Right.
Even within Loki season 2, we saw him live another 1,000 or so centuries.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
That moment too. Fucking 1,000
Like,
years
they
later.
already live a long time, and
whatever.
all Asgardians can live a long time. All of them are strong, but these guys are like special Asgardians who have level. They're gods within Asgard.
within the world of gods.
Yeah.
I would give it to Loki comfortably.
Yeah.
Thor, I don't know.
Because right, like in the MCU specifically, right? Thor's arc is almost about is about like whether or not he will choose the path that is set for him, right? Or will he choose his own? And that path that is set for him is like goddom in a sense.
Yeah.
And like, will you take up like will you fulfill these like prophecies or things that we are putting on your shoulder? And he's almost like refuting it
Yeah.
for a large part of the series, right?
Well, yeah. And my thing with Thor in the MCU is that Ragnarok has happened, but he hasn't died.
So therefore,
Yeah.
it
And
can't
so it hasn't
reset.
finished. And so,
Right.
like, nothing can restart. And it's almost like a selfishness of him to not.
And now that he has a child.
Yeah. And it's like, you either need to become Odin or you need to die.
Yeah.
And, like, allow the cycle to restart so that Loki and Thor
It'd
forget.
be so cool if they
Everyone
finally
can come
do that.
back. I mean, that should be his out.
Like, that'd be such a
obviously.
great way to, like, end
Yeah.
Thor 5 or Secret Wars or something. It'd be so beautiful if they
Yeah.
finally, like,
Yeah.
let that be.
I thought that would be his end for Thor: Love and Thunder, but
Yeah.
you know, I think he's got one more. Yeah,
I think he's got one more in him. Or Secret Wars. But
Yeah, I would
I'd love
say,
to see
like-
that cycle.
maybe Thor MCU. It's not. He's the god of thunder, but he's not. He's definitely lower down than Loki now, right? Like he can't do
100%.
what Loki's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
He's almost like a demigod in a way.
Yeah, I think Loki is God and Thor demigod for me.
Yeah. He's giving guy energy, right? Thor.
big guy in
Big guy energy.
Just
Yeah,
Hemsworth
yeah.
having a good time. That's
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth. I'd say comic Thor, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say Loki in all mediums, God.
God. Yeah.
And I'd also argue, like, Loki, with the way they've made the God of Stories in the MCU, as well as the canon event concept of Spider-Verse, it kind of is the same character.
Interesting.
Like, I would argue the medium of Loki doesn't matter anymore.
Sure.
Because he kind of transcended it through the show.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And I would also argue that the canon event concept in Spider-Man, which ties into even Tom's Spider-Man, which makes those events canon, makes comics canon to movies, which therefore makes Loki the God of Stories
Right.
one all-encompassing entity.
Yeah.
So in my head canon, the guy telling stories and shaping stories and sitting on that throne is also manipulating comic book medium storytelling because they're
Yeah.
all one
It's all
branch. Like the tree is multi-mediumed.
right. Damn.
Because of those two things. Well, those two things made it all possible. Like the first, I thought Spider-Verse 1 was so impressive because it taught quantum theory to kids. And then Spider-Verse 2 is able to manipulate what mediums are. Because through the power of discussing the canon event and through that beautiful imagery of, again, a tree, like the web and the tree having a lot of similar parallels, you've made all of it canon to each of them, just like it's canon to us. Like we consider the lore of Spider-Man, whether it's TV or film or
Right.
comic book, a lore for the character.
Right.
And Loki now, being someone who is the wielder of lore, has all of that as one thing. So I'd consider Tom Hiddleston's Loki the first character that transcends the art
Yeah.
of the medium.
Sure. Wow. It would be really interesting
God.
to see like if they like reflect that too in the comics, if they somehow like can like join it all together.
There's an interesting story right now in the Immortal Thor, which is only like 5 or 6 issues in, and it's
Okay.
basically Thor dealing with his arrogance, as he often does, but in a way that he's trying to figure out what level of responsibility he wants to have, and the whole time his trickster Loki is the god of stories, but he's still got trickster elements, and we don't know if Loki's manipulating Thor to have Thor ascend or if Loki is falling back into old habits. And what's interesting is at the end of most issues, it zooms out and it's the guy that runs Roxxon, who's this giant bull, reading a comic of the story. So you're reading a comic, and then at the end, it's the comic you're reading, and the commentary on the comic by the reader is usually about Disney. Like one of the most recent issue is like, we bought this comic company for propaganda, and we wanted this to dismiss a lot of these blah blah blah. And you're reading it, and it's about like the things that are happening in trades, but it's Loki in our reality manipulating maybe even him because he's the god of stories, and that would be a story,
Oh my god.
which is great.
Yeah.
God, capital G God Loki.
I guess I gotta start reading Thor.
It's real good, dude. It's real good right now.
All right. So yeah, I think we're landing on MCU, Thor, demigod,
Yeah.
guy, demigod, and Loki
Big
across
guy.
everything.
Big
God.
guy.
Paul Atreides. You know, he's in the news. he's doing stuff. It's very interesting because like in the movie, he's referred to as like a messiah.
Right.
Right? Which is not, I guess, a god, but also like someone to inspire people the same way a god might.
Right. A leader.
A leader, yeah. But then we also see him doing like all these crazy feats. And is he
What's the craziest feats that he does?
Ride the biggest worm possible.
Yeah, but they all ride worms. I mean, like a bunch of people can ride worms.
He's pretty much telepathic. He's like reading people's dreams. He's
like
predicting stuff.
You know, that could be. You know, it's tough because those could be cold reads, right? You know,
you've dreamt of blah blah blah. How'd you know?
Well, we don't know that from a culture. Maybe a lot of people have nightmares about giving water to the dead. You know, because water is so precious.
Yeah.
I mean, like earlier in the movie, you have Stilgar saying like, we would not even drink of this water if we were dying of thirst, right? And this man is a religious figure who really, you know, believes in it, believes in the prophecy, all that kind of stuff.
But we see his visions come true.
Well, yes. I mean, but you could argue. So we know that spice gives the navigators the ability to transverse the galaxy without machines, right? They're able to do all these calculations because it's this fucking drug, dude.
Man, that's spice.
Don't listen to what they say in Dare, kids. Spice is fucking get you going.
Get after it.
But it alters you. It alters the body, right? And he points out in the film, again, spoilers for Dune Part 2. I'm sorry. He points out that like his mother, Lady Jessica, is a Bene Gesserit. Is able to transmute poison, something that she's trained and studied, taught Paul to do, something he's able to do. So he's able to do all these things to fulfill a prophecy that is sewn into this culture by the Bene Gesserit. And he does all these things, but like, again, they're nothing that like, we don't know if anyone could survive the life water, right? The water of life.
Yeah.
Right. He says that they're transmuting the poison, blah, 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 but they also don't allow the Fremen to try it. It's
so there could be
no guy has ever been able to drink it.
a number of strong men that could have.
It could work for anybody, right? As long as you can like have a shallow pulse for a little bit. Like the only thing that shakes me is like, you know, when Chani does the like desert spring tears mixed with the life water and wakes back up. Like, what is that moment? Is that actual magic happening?
But also him seeing Chani
like,
for months leading up to meeting her. Like those are prophetic images.
He did. That's an interesting one because
the fire,
my point
the
with the
people
spice
on fire.
is that the spice might just put your mind in a place where you're able to like see time differently.
That's true.
So if anyone does
if you're
spice,
traveling through space time, conceptually you're prophicing a new time in space.
Right. And he's also, you know, he's saying I'm seeing all these possible outcomes. These things change a lot, right? He knows he's going to Arrakis, and he's been reading about Arrakis, so having dreams about Arrakis.
Yeah,
you know, that's
pretty
plausible.
honest.
Yeah. Chani, having a specific dream about Chani is weird, but we also don't know if this is like the Bene Gesserit messing with him. Is Lady Jessica putting these images in his head, knowing that they're going there and knowing that there is a Fremen woman there?
I did think that was the Bene
cute.
Gesserit.
I'm a plot device that in her head. Like I saw this girl who's good for my son.
Moms be working behind the scenes.
So, and like how many moms like set up their kids in advance anyway? Like, oh, they're both at the park today.
Yeah,
but they did it with mind powers.
Yeah,
look at that. Once your mom gets face tattoos, be on the lookout.
Be wary.
Be on the lookout.
Well, if someone starts calling her Reverend Mother,
be a little concerned.
Be wary. She's like, we'll be waiting for you. Like, watch out. That's a tough one.
95% of the people saying Guy.
For Paul?
Yeah, for Paul.
And I think that's kind of the point, right? He's just a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah.
Just a guy.
You know, he's
self-made man.
He's not self-made.
No, he's
been children by hundreds of years. That is the least self-made man of all time. The son of a duke and the son of an all-powerful witch.
He's had it hard.
Man.
No, it's dry out there.
He's a dude who's
sand gets everywhere.
He's peak human, you know what I mean, or whatever. He's peak human. He's finally tuned skills, but yeah, he's just high on drugs, and things are working out right now. That's all. He's on a good streak.
He's Hunter S. Thompson. He's in Vegas.
Streak. Yeah.
Things are just working out right now. He's on drugs. He sees things.
If you're a famous person and you read The Secret, you're like, well, this makes sense because I wanted to be famous, and
now I am.
But The Secret doesn't work for all the other people who want to be
read
famous
The Secret,
and never are. Don't ever listen to a rich or famous person who says The Secret works.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't know if it didn't work. Because you can't know the other side.
You just got to take the spice. That's the only way to know.
That's the trick.
Give everyone the spice.
I saw someone in the chat asking, Coy, would you like to share any thoughts on Dune Part 2?
Just generally?
Yeah, just generally. We've been sneaking in some Dune talk throughout the week. So
I think Dune Part 2 is what I've always wanted to feel about Star Wars. That's not to denigrate Star Wars. I've just never connected to Star Wars beyond moviedom. Like, I enjoyed the spectacle of Star Wars. I've never connected to it like a religion or like something that I'd follow the lore of deeper. It didn't connect me that way. I'm immediately considering reading all 6 Dune. It is a transformative books. But it's so transformative to me as a sci-fi film that I honestly understand the genre more. To me, it was everything that I love about storytelling, in that it's a spectacle, which is very important for modern storytelling, but the spectacle doesn't cost the story, and that's so hard to do nowadays. It didn't feel like it was made by committee. It didn't feel like it was structured to make money. It felt like an authentic story that happened to be, the story required huge scope. And so it's a political commentary. It's a commentary on trade. It's a commentary on what it is to be a god or a man, and what it is to believe in something. And I think it's really important that, much like Barbie was able to get out a narrative about the importance of female strength, not at the cost of male strength, unless you watch that movie differently than I, we need to see equality in things. And that's why, like, there are moments in Barbie where it's like, where do the Kens live? Like, there are questions that make it lore. I think this is that for religion. It makes me want to talk to people that are religious and go like, hey, so that prophet guy, it's not working out great. Like, believing in something to such a level that it causes harm, believing in things that are so dangerous for others, and believing something so strongly that you're willing to hurt other real people. Like, we live in a world where religion becomes violent often. And I think that making a movie that is a science fiction, there's fiction that drives us morally, and there's science fiction that can drive us morally. And I've always loved comic books because they're a Trojan horse of morality. You get a lot of beautiful messaging in a story that you don't ever believe is true. What scares me about religion is a lot of people believe it to be true, and that moral compass is someone else telling you what to do. And I think Dune adjusts the narrative of the viewer to go like, hey, maybe look at your stuff. So I think Dune's important and great. It really struck me as what movies can, should, and hopefully can continue to be if we keep letting artists make art and not commodify everything we do for the sake of profit.
Yeah, and you want something too, like, that is just like something that breaks through like the mainstream like this, to have like a message
audience
like that, right? And not just like films that are like, yeah, that's just like the best thing you can do with like a blockbuster, I think. Or even something that, you know, maybe this wouldn't have been considered a blockbuster in certain spheres. Like, I don't know, Blade Runner 2049? Blockbuster? Who's to say?
Well, is that our God guy? Blockbuster, not blockbuster.
Yeah.
But I use Barbie as an example, but Oppenheimer's another great example of like what we create that causes us harm, what we make as humans to feel at peace for something, or what we make as humans to feel safe. Like, we made a destructive device to feel safe because other people were destroying people, and like there was harm coming our way. And I think I've always seen religion similarly, and I think it's a really interesting thing to make a movie about it, as opposed to I don't know if we talk about sex, religion, politics in most circles because it's a faux pas. Like, a lot of people don't talk about money with their peers because, like, oh, you're not supposed to. But it's like, yeah, but that's the only way we can all eat and survive. And I think religion should be discussed in a more open place because, much like politics, it does shape a lot of people's lives. And if you're dedicating your belief system to something that someone else is telling you to believe, you should be able to look out at it, not just be in it already. And I think that Dune goes like, hey, look at what you believe and look how dangerous it can be. And even if it's just a subconscious shift, I hope that since this movie's going to make so much money, if 20 people a showing go like, that weird shit I believe, is that healthy? Like, I think it's important. So I think it's a spectacle, but it's also an impactful, important film like Oppenheimer and Barbie before it.
Yeah, 100%.
I like the big fat Baron Harkonnen.
Also, the fucking acting, like the acting, like to get a new like Austin Butler performance as strong as Elvis, to get more Josh Brolin being the coolest uncle ever. Like, there's just such goodness.
I just like big fat Baron Harkonnen.
It's fair.
Just floating,
doing the work.
The first time we see him, and he's like, "You got to fix the problem."
I want to go in that oil and vinegar bath so bad. Oh, he's getting dunked in like the best Italian seasoning ever. Like, when you go to the place and like he's the bread.
He's meeting the emperor, and he's just like in his bathrobe. Like,
I love it, dude.
He's the bread.
He's the bread. Like, whenever I go to Thai place, I'm like, ooh, balsamic. He's just in it.
Fat little breadstick.
I just want to be a fat little breadstick for a day.
Adorable. Speaking of fat little breadsticks, Factor's a meal delivery service that we love. Because Factor's fresh, never frozen meals make eating better and easier than ever. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat. So there's no shopping, there's no chopping, there's no cooking, there's no booking, and there's no cleanup. No booking. Don't illegally
such anti-book.
Not reading any books, folks. In just 2 minutes, you can have delicious chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals ready to go and eat for dinner, lunch, or breakfast.
Did you know Zach's sister and mom love Factor meals?
Are you outing his sister and mother as Factor meal consumers?
They texted Zach to say, please let the audience know how much we love Factor meals.
Please let them know! We love the Factor meals.
So yesterday, Monday, we heard from Zach's sister. Zach's mom said, one of my favorites is the chicken taco bowl. Also, the garlic chicken. Honestly, I haven't had any that I didn't like. And that's true. I haven't had any Factor meals that I haven't liked either.
Is Zach's family taking over?
Yeah, I love that. Zach,
what's going on?
It literally said in the teleprompter, Zach Tech. Like, I love that the text came through as
Is Zach an investor in Factor? What's happening?
He's got stock, for sure.
When you select Factor, you'll have over 35 different options to choose from each week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons, including options for breakfast and midday bites. God, I love a midday bite. You can choose your meals every week or pause and reschedule deliveries whenever you need. Head on over to factormeals.com/breakroom50 and use code breakroom50 to get 50% off. That's code breakroom50 at factormeals.com/breakroom50 to get 50% off.
And also, thanks, Jelly Bean Planet.
Yeah, thank you, Jelly Bean Planet.
There's so many jelly beans.
There's so many jelly
we
beans.
have a lot of jelly
We have a lot of jelly beans. Coy, we'll send you home with some jelly beans.
Yes.
There's so many, and they're all so good. At some point, we sold them out on Amazon, but they're back.
Wow.
So check them out. We have 42.5 ounce container.
Big
Have
ones.
them if you want.
Small ones. Papa beans.
We have the Papa Beans.
Mama beans.
You take the thing, and then you go, pop.
Oh, Evan.
I gotta have to do this again.
Evan, no. Oh, we did it. Congratulations.
All right. Don't edit that, Brian.
Yeah, they got all sorts of sizes, all sorts of flavors.
36 huge flavors.
Yeah, they use natural flavors, no GMO, no gelatin, no gluten, no palm oil. Support the show and get some jelly beans of your own from Jelly Bean Planet. Just click the link in the description below or find them on Amazon. They're great for Easter. You know, the Easter bunny canonically lays eggs that has jelly beans inside of it. Why is a mammal doing that? I don't know. He was cursed. Is the Easter bunny a god?
I think so.
A god?
A god.
I think it'd have to be.
Yeah, he's creating.
Yeah.
No, he's
weird outside of science things.
He's at most like a demon or angel.
He can turn into chocolate.
Like a
We bite his head off. I don't know what that creature
cherub.
is.
Yeah. A seraphim?
Tooth fairy? God?
Wasn't the seraphims, weren't they the ones that had multiple faces? I don't know why I'm looking.
Dom Ellis says they were eating a Factor meal while they're watching us. So, hey, thanks,
Did that blow
Dom
their
Ellis.
mind? Did the Factor meal say, thank you?
It was a chicken taco bowl, so maybe it came back to life and said it.
Was it Zach's mom? Do we know Zach's mom's name on Twitch?
Yeah, if you're Zach's mom, please say. All right, a few more characters.
Handbags in the chat if you're Zach's mom.
Handbags in the chat. All right, a few more characters to round this out. This one I was interested in. I wanted to talk to Coy about this. The Flash. The Flash is really interesting to me. The Flash can tap into the Speed Force, which I feel like is still a mostly undefined concept of power. It changes all the time. Mm-hmm. He also can, he can change universes and stuff like that. I wrote creates universes in the script. That's not true, or not totally true, I suppose.
It depends on how you look at the Mandela effect, and
Right.
if you consider the theory that when we make a decision, it splits universes. Then
Yeah.
technically, every time he does something to that scale would cause a rift of many.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Can he project the Speed Force onto an object?
No.
Like can he go around an apple real fast and make time
And make it
move
well, I guess.
faster? Can you do something like that?
I'm sure he could. Actually.
But again, that's just like he's planting seeds. He didn't make.
Yeah, he didn't make the seed.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say that the Speed Force, again, current run of comics, there's a lot going on where Wally and Barry are trying to understand the Speed Force, and there's actually outside Celestial-esque characters that are trying to hinder them seeing certain things.
Oh, no.
And it's really interesting because the comic not only breaks the fourth wall, not with the characters looking or like acknowledging reading you, but there are panels that go into other dimensions, so the characters are trying to figure out where they are within that realm.
Oh, okay.
So like it doesn't come think of a pop-up book.
Yeah,
It's not like the pop-up. It's like a dimensional in.
Right.
So they're like looking into other realms in the story, trying to navigate what the Speed Force is to them.
Yeah,
and whether or not different wielders have different abilities within it. And then these celestial-like creatures are trying to moderate what they can and can't see and what realms they're allowed to witness so they don't get too aware to become a god. So I would argue they are not gods.
Sure.
But that there is a fear of that ability.
Yeah.
So I'd go between guy and demigod.
Yeah. I think that's right too, and I think I'm just so like hearing you say that they're in the commentary that they're exploring the Speed Force is like very cool to me, because like that the whole idea of it is so mind-boggling, and I just like love that for years it was just like a thing. And
like,
they're just like, yep, the Speed Force.
Guys, the treadmill goes back in time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the Speed Force is just. I feel like that is. So almost that's how you get right. That's how you get to goddom or whatever. But like there is like that's how you tap into. I guess you access your god that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, are you immortal if you control time?
Yeah, I mean.
But you decay.
Yeah, as long as if you can prevent yourself from decaying, that would be the
right.
The way
but would that be a thing through the Speed Force? Like, would that?
Yeah.
I've often wondered if he travels back 30 days, but how long did it take him to get there? And if that chronological time is at cost of him. Like, you know, in like
that's
the movie.
Tenet right there.
You know, yeah, you know what I mean?
Tenet.
Like, say it takes an hour to go back 30 days. Does that hour of time count as a cost to him? Like when I'm flying
exactly,
like, cross country.
Does your body experience that time? Yeah.
Or like when you fly to Australia and the flight is 12 hours, but you're 27 hours in the future because of the sun, what time am I? Like my body decay.
Yeah, your body's
12 hours
the same
older.
Entropy. The entropy didn't slow down.
Right.
Because of the flight.
But I'm half a day older time wise.
Right, but you're
But
using
the time
that.
is that's like a social. That's like a construct.
Right, we invented that.
We
time.
invented that to measure.
But how does that work for the entropy of someone using the Speed Force in that chronology?
world?
I think the Flash is just an avatar of the Speed, like a human avatar of the Speed Force.
And it just attaches to him.
If the Speed Force is like an energy, that's what demigod.
The Speed Force is the demigod.
Well,
Barry Allen is not.
Yeah.
Barry Allen guy.
He's a champion of the god for the
Yeah, he's a manifestation of an energy.
Of an entity. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
How is his body still intact when he's going so fast? It adapted, Heartless. That's what happened. His body adapted.
The Speed Force made him resilient.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, how does he get oxygen in when?
How does his skin not peel off?
How does his eyes not? Because if he hit a mosquito going that fast, wouldn't it like?
I mean, the Speed Force, I imagine like a protective layer.
Yeah.
But what does that feel like?
You guys ever try to sneeze with your eyes open? No. Like just in case?
Well, yeah, I did, but it's a bad idea. You could
Yeah.
pop
It
a
will
blood
fuck,
vessel. You could
your eyes will fly out.
I always think of it after, like, oh,
Don't fight it. Just let it happen.
Like, yeah, I don't ever consider in the moment.
Yeah.
It happened.
Let's talk about Marvel Jesus, the self-appointed Marvel Jesus, Deadpool.
Always decay.
Always decaying, constantly breaking the fourth wall. I feel like there's probably a very distinct difference, if I had to guess. Coy, correct me if I'm wrong, between like the film adaptation, like the Ryan Reynolds adaptation, and the comics version.
Well, Ryan Reynolds plays a very Joe Kelly, very self-aware fourth wall breaking. Like it's obviously elements of like Rob Liefeld's Deadpool, Joe Kelly's Deadpool, like a lot of the big runs, Jerry Duggan's Deadpool. But there's a Christopher Priest run, a guy who's known for his run on Black Panther that is also incredible. But there's a really interesting Christopher Priest run where there's an almost omnipotence to Deadpool because he's trying to convince the reader to do things.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
as you're experiencing Deadpool, he's manipulating you.
And what is
and
he
I feel
trying
like
to
that is
that's God.
God.
Yeah.
Because if a god is trying to change its narrative, like
Right.
if you're aware of a narrative change.
I like that concept that is explored in that way on Rick and Morty, where Rick is aware that they are in a show, and that like that's why they came up with wubba dubba dub or whatever, because he's like, we need to have a catchphrase because like that's what a successful show has.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
like he tells Morty, he's like, if we're not fun to watch, the show will get canceled and
then
we
we're
will
dead.
cease to exist.
Yeah.
Which is a very real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is self-aware, and in a lot of ways, that is manipulating the writers of the show and the audience of the show in like
That's
a very
fun.
interesting way.
I like that.
So it's like Deadpool is that, right?
Yeah.
Aware that he needs to be entertaining.
And I think that they're going to address
He can
that.
address the audience.
I think Deadpool 3 will have commentary on how important this movie is to Marvel.
Right.
I think he's going to be Marvel Jesus because he knows that the Marvel universe optically needs to be saved for a lot of audience members. So I think it's going to be more like the Christopher Priest run, where not only is it fourth wall breaking, it's like this is important for us to survive, which is like what you're saying with Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And if Deadpool can like affect change in his universe, I mean, like he got Cable in the movie, like he gets Cable's device to travel through time. That's not an ability he had on his own.
No.
But he has like omnipresence
Omnipresence.
in a weird way. Like he's omniscient about things.
But he can't read our
He knows
minds.
things that characters in the universe don't know. Like when he says he's getting dragged to go see Professor X and he's like McAvoy or Stewart.
Which is an awareness of our universe.
Yes, he's
Which is why I think
aware.
he'll be able to swear in his movie, but not in other movies.
Right.
Which I think will be a great way to have PG-13 Marvel movies with Deadpool. They'll mute him there because in his universe he can swear.
Yeah.
But also there's a character that's a spin-off of Deadpool that is Gwen Stacy if she was Deadpool, but she's from our universe and her only power is knowing all of people's secret identities because she's read comics. So it's so good. Gwenpool is such a great character. Gwenpool is literally just aware of character identities because she reads comics in another universe. So that isn't godhood, it's just knowledge. But I think Deadpool is a blend of those. I'm going to give Deadpool Guy, but I do think omnipotence is a factor of godhood, just not complete.
Yeah, I think it's like he's like flirting with godhood, but isn't able to like fully like.
He's like a curse.
Because he can also come back. Like it's hard to kill him. You can like almost atomize him.
Yeah,
and he'll regrow, which is like immortality ish.
Right.
He's like a god in the polytheistic sense of like he's not a creator, but he's almost like the god of stories in a bad way. That he's aware of everything and he knows what's going on, but like he's a man who like can't die.
Yeah.
And is aware that all of this is a comic book that he's stuck in he's like cursed, right?
Yeah.
He's in hell, essentially.
I like that. Yeah, I'd say demigod for god of demigod.
He's having a great time. He doesn't take it so seriously.
Blissful.
Which is nice.
He's just hanging out.
Because it didn't get canceled. We wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. Before we move on to our last one, Sarah Hatchadorian asks, is Kevin a god? Kevin from She-Hulk.
Kevin.
That's
he's
funny.
A creator. I don't know. This is a very Battlestar Galactica question. Like, if the humans create the AI and it gets on its own, the human created the life that allowed Kevin to exist.
Right. But in that universe, he would be.
And he's just doing what he's programmed to do.
Yeah.
From the Earth 19999 perspective, I would say Kevin's a god. From our perspective, I would say he's not.
Yeah.
Depends if you're looking up or down.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's right.
In my opinion, it is the Jedi who are bad. The best line ever in Star Wars.
All right, here's the last one. Brandon, you want to explain this pick?
Yeah, this is my pick.
All right.
God,
Bugs Bunny. This is the weirdest. What is this?
It's Big Chungus.
What is big? Is this like a TikTok thing?
I can't explain this.
Oh no.
This can't be on me to explain Big Chungus.
I can't. I'm too old for this. Bugs Bunny. Okay. I wanted to put Bugs Bunny on here. Now, in the world of Looney Tunes, like a lot of them have what we consider powers, but really that's just the reality of the situation. But Bugs has like unique control of a lot of these things. Bugs has often talks directly to the audience. So does Daffy. I hear you on Daffy, but Daffy is not a god. Bugs, has interacted with the animator before, has like pulled the pencil and done stuff like that. Other ones have too. But Bugs is like so aware and he can saw a hole in a wall, go through it and close it and then it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bugs manipulates the reality of the situation in ways that the other ones can't. And
I'm gonna give you God.
To me, he's like a god in
this
that
a lot.
world. A lot of them have abilities and can do stuff.
Yeah,
and
a lot
don't
of them
die.
break
and,
the fourth wall too, right?
Yeah,
There's not a limit to Bugs' power.
Yeah, Bugs
making
is
him a
like
god.
unlimited power.
Yeah.
And almost unstoppable. But in some ways, it's cursed because he has all the knowledge and can't get out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, a god can be cursed.
Yeah.
But I would say that definitely Bugs God.
I think like he's like the most godly of the
cartoons.
Looney Tunes.
Of the Looney Tunes.
He has the knowledge that Coyote and Acme will never be released.
Oh no.
It hurts so much.
Do you think if they make another Space Jam, we'll have Bugs and Paul Atreides interact finally? Would they
Just
do
what
that?
we've all
Would Warner
wanted.
Brothers do that?
We've been waiting forever.
I think they would do it just to piss us off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys like this?
Yeah,
You
here it is.
You like Dune?
$1 billion.
You gotta go see
here's
this
interaction.
movie? Well, we're putting them in Space Jam 3.
Oh my.
As long as we get what's her name, the girl from Poor Things, Baxter. What's the
Bella Baxter.
Bella Baxter in the next Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah, that's true. That could happen.
Give me that kinky Kingdom Hearts level.
Yeah, I'm
sure
they'll hop right on that one.
Yep, it should be happening on something in Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts.
no. Come on.
All right, the poll for Bugs Bunny is not over yet, but most people are saying that he is neither a guy or a god, that he is Big Chungus. Hey, that's it for us today. Coy, where can the people find you?
Hunt me down on my own YouTube channel, Coy Jandreau. Hunt me down on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or local comic store. All at Coy Jandreau.
Make sure to subscribe here to the Breakroom channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch where we do videos like this live. Go to Breakroom NR on socials. And we'll see ya later on the next edition of Guy or God. Guy versus
Nailed it.
Guy Gardner.
I gotta go. I won't do it for the edit.
Perfect. Nailed it. No notes.